Noel from here, back in another video, and today I'm going to be reviewing Spider Dude's Spider-Man the Animated Series Episode 3. This series has been very good so far from Spider Dude. Episode 1 and 2 were very good, had very smooth animation, great fight scenes, and the story has just overall been pretty good so far from this series, and there's a lot of Spider-Man series going on out there, but this is definitely one of the best out there, and I have really been enjoying it. And yeah, this one is the longest episode of the series so far. It's about 14 minutes, and that's a very good runtime. And yeah, I've mostly been reviewing longer animations so far. They've all been above 10 minutes, I think. So I really like longer animations. I respect them. They do take a lot more work, but it is worth it in the end, so I respect that from Spider Dude. Every single episode so far has been like around the 10-minute mark or more. So I've liked that so far. And it's going to be like a 12 episode series, so I'm really excited to see what else is here in this season of the series. So we're going to get into the cons first and then the pros. So let's just jump right into it. So the first con is audio. Audio has been a big issue in this entire series. And I don't know, I've just not been the biggest fan of the audio. It's either too loud or too low. That's what it's been. It's kind of like this in this episode. Some voices are pretty low, and then music can be loud at times, or the music's just super low too at times in this one. And I don't know, it's just finding the right balance with audio. The voices need to be a lot louder. Some of the voices were good, but a lot of them were kind of low and they were a little hard to hear, so that was kind of an issue there. And then yeah, just overall the audio quality isn't the best and the volume isn't very good. So audio has been a big issue in this series. There should have been more character development in this episode. It felt like there was a little too much action, although I think the action was well done. I think there should have been a lot more character development. It's just like it's like there's an action scene that happens, and then Spider-Man does a few things, and then goes into another action scene, basically. And I think there should have been a lot more character development, getting to know these characters a little better, and getting invested in them. So then these action scenes will have a lot more of a payoff, which would make them even more exciting than they already are. So yeah, character development, it needs to be better. Script needs to add in some more character development and more dialogue scenes a bit. The action is good, but we need some more dialogue scenes and more character development. So another con I want to mention is Beetle fixes his suit in like 5 seconds. I think Beetle should have had a little bit more problems with his suit, and maybe he could have like worn it or something and thought he fixed it, but then it breaks down or something, so he has to go through like a little bit of trouble with this suit. That could have been a little entertaining and would have made a little bit more sense, but instead he just fixes it basically off screen, and I wasn't too big of a fan of that. So I think either he shouldn't have worn a suit and done that much in this episode, and could have just had Tombstone hired to go after Spider-Man more, or Tombstone could have recruited someone to be in their little operation or something. But yeah, I think Beetle should have struggled a little bit more in this episode. And so Spider-Man in the final fight, he was very bloody. It was a brutal final fight, and he was very bloody after it. It looked like he was like bleeding to death, to be honest. And he gets up pretty easily and he defeats Beetle and Tombstone, and he just walks away from it, basically. And I think the blood should have been toned down a bit, because then it just looks a little unrealistic. I know it's a Spider-Man animation, and Spider-Man is not very realistic, but it should be a little bit more grounded in reality, not that unbelievable to where we're like, okay, this just doesn't make too much sense. So I think the blood should have been toned down a little bit, because then it's unbelievable there. I still like that it was a brutal fight scene, but the blood needs to be toned down because it just looks unbelievable. And Tombstone was not the brightest in this episode. He was not the smartest fellow in this. That's for sure. So in his fight scene with Spider-Man, he throws a rock at him and then throws him in a table and thinks he's dead. I I don't know about that, bro. Like, yeah, not. You should have at least checked if he was dead or not. But yeah, Tombstone was not the brightest. Thinks Spider-Man is dead, and then, well, of course he's not. And you can say, oh, he's confident and arrogant, but I don't know. It's just, it's a little bit too dumb for me. So that kind of, I didn't really like that. Tombstone, not the brightest. He should be a little bit more smarter, I guess. But yeah, that wasn't too bad, but still. And then camera quality. Camera quality was not the best in this animation, and it hasn't been the best throughout this whole series overall. Like the camera quality, it needs to be upped. I know he's probably shooting with his phone or iPad or whatever. You can still get good quality out of that with good enough lighting and stuff, and just trying to make it work the best you can. And if you ever have enough money to get a camera, then I suggest you do that because cameras can really help an animation tremendously. But you can still get some good quality out of a phone or an iPad. So do your best with getting as good camera quality as possible. So you can still get good quality with a mobile device. So that's all I'm saying here. Camera quality needs to be up because it's a little fuzzy, especially when frames are paused for a while. You can really tell that it's pretty fuzzy at times. So I think that needs to be worked on. And then, the merge effect in this animation, in the fight scenes when people are jumping or flipping, there's this weird merge effect where you see the frames that are behind the figure, and I don't like it at all. It kind of took me out of the fight scenes, to be honest. That was that's one of the things that I didn't like at all in this animation. It was really taking me out of the fight scenes, and it was really distracting, and I just didn't like it. Just get that out of there and just have normal jumps and flips without this weird merge effect seeing the frames behind the figures. I just don't like that. And then we have action figure stands. Yet again, action figure stands are in this animation, and the stands need to be gone. They need to be. It's really distracting, and they pop up quite a bit in this episode, and they popped up quite a bit in the entire series. And just do your best to erase them. Erase them at least most of the time. There's times where it is hard to erase them, but erase them as much as you possibly can. Like, you gotta, I'm pretty sure you know this already, but you gotta take an image without the figure in frame and then take one with them and the stand, and then you can erase it from there. It's a lot more work, but it will pay off and it will look a lot better than having the stands in the way. So, yeah, that's a big problem with this too, is the stands in the way, and I don't like it. I don't like it. Or you can also use strings. Strings you don't have to erase, and if you get strings, some clear strings or like fishing line like I use, it's not really as noticeable and it can work pretty well. It can sometimes it can be a little hard to work with, but I think it can pay off. But yeah, try your best to either erase it or use some strings. So, sound effects in this animation. Sound effects were not the best. Sound effects were pretty repetitive, and sometimes they just didn't work well into it. Like, the sound effect didn't make sense to what the movement was or whatever. And it was like the same three sound effects. It was like the same punch sound effect over and over again. And I think he needs to have more variety of sound effects, like maybe like 4 or 5 different punch sound effects to use. And the timing was off a bit. Editing seemed rushed, and with the sound effects because they were off at times, especially in the final fight, the sound effects were pretty off, and I didn't like that. I like it when the sound effects are on point and they're pretty good, and when they're not on point and they're not timed right, that really that really irks me. And then characters moving in between shots, like when it changes to a different angle, the figure like kind of pops back up or whatever, and it was like a little jumpy. It was weird. It's kind of hard to explain, but it was something I noticed, and it was a little weird in there. So I didn't like that in the fights. It was just cutting a little too quickly at times, and yeah. So I think that is it for the cons I have in this animation. Let's move on to the pros now. So the first pro I have is voice acting. There are some pretty good voice actors in here, like Star Wars Collector as Spider-Man, Hobo525 as Beetle, we have JS as Tombstone. Good voice actors, it's just audio quality needs to be better, but the voice actors are pretty good in this animation, and I enjoyed the voice acting. And the dialogue was okay, I guess, but there wasn't anything spectacular with the dialogue in this. There wasn't really any memorable lines. It was just kind of a little bit stale, and it was just kind of regular dialogue, which isn't awful, but I do think dialogue could have been improved a little bit, but it wasn't bad. And the animation, the fluidity of the animation is very good. Spider Dude has very smooth animations, and it is pretty smooth in this one. Also, just keeping up with the same quality of the series, and I enjoy his animation. They are very smooth, and it's pretty entertaining. The fight choreography, Gamer Lajai was doing the fight choreography, and as always from Gamer Lajai, it was very, very good. I liked the fight choreography, especially in the final fight. Although I did have my critiques with the story aspects of it, the actual fight was very good. It's probably my favorite fight of the series so far, just as a fight. Um, but yeah, it was a very well done, well filmed, and well choreographed fight. It was very good. And Spider Dude actually, I think he did the choreography for the first fight I heard, and the first fight was pretty good. And yeah, Spider Dude is not too bad with writing his own fight choreography. And whenever Gamer fights does the fight choreography, it is even better with that. So Gamer Lajai, he is very underrated. Go subscribe to him. And yeah, but if you ask him to do fight choreography, he's pretty busy right now. So don't really ask him for that. Don't pester him. All right, he's very talented, but don't pester him. Anyway, the blood effects, those practical effects for the blood, I thought that looked pretty good. In the final fight, I liked that. The final fight was very brutal, which I liked, although I think it should have been toned down a little bit for the realism aspects. But yeah, the blood practical effect was done very well. I wonder what he used for that. Whatever he did, it looked pretty good, and I liked that. The Spider-Man custom figure he's had it throughout the whole series, and it is a very good custom figure. I like it a lot. I think he is using the Ultimate Peter Parker action figure, which I have right here. So I think he's using that one, and then he had like a different paint job on it to make it look more like the Homecoming suit. So I like that. The custom is pretty good, and yeah, that young Spider-Man figure just looks very good. Good job on that custom. Sets are very good as always from Spider Dude. The sets are well done, and I like them. Not much else to say other than sets are really good. He uses cardboard for his sets, like I do, and cardboard's pretty good to use for sets, and especially Peter's apartment set. I like that quite a bit, and yeah, that's probably one of the better sets of the animation. So yeah, sets are very good in this animation, and they have been throughout the whole series. So very good job on those sets, and let's move on. So the night lighting that we had, especially where when Spider-Man had Robbie Robertson and you saved him. I like that night lighting, although it maybe should be a little brighter because the camera quality was a bit fuzzy, but I don't know. Night lighting is a little hard to do, and having good camera quality with it. But yeah, so it's hard, and that's just a little nitpick. But I do think the night lighting was done pretty well, and I liked it. The movement was pretty realistic in this. I like the movement, and it was pretty good overall. And it's been like this the whole series. the the movement is very realistic, and I like that. So yeah, movement is good, and not only is it just realistic, it's pretty smooth. So I like that. And the cinematography was done pretty well. I like the shots in this. I always respect when people have some pretty good shots in theirs, and cinematography. Not too many pay like some big attention to it, but Spider Dude did a pretty okay job with cinematography. I liked it, and yeah, there wasn't really any completely spectacular shots in this, but it was done pretty well. I also kind of like where like the camera fell down. That little shot, I thought that was pretty cool, and I like that. Lighting is pretty good for the most part. Not only the night lighting, but just overall the lighting is pretty good in this animation. And yeah, overall this is a pretty good animation. That's all I have for the pros. So for a score on this, I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. I'm going to be harsher with my review scores now. So there's a few animations that, the animations that I reviewed, those scores might be down a little bit. I still enjoy those two, by the way. So don't be worried about that. But yeah, the 3 animations that I've reviewed so far have been pretty good animations, and this is probably one of the best ones I've reviewed yet, maybe the best. But yeah, very good animation. Good job on that, Spider Dude, and I'm excited to see episode 4. He said it might be coming next month, and he's kind of been on that track, a month in between each episode. They're like 10 minutes, so understandable that it takes about a month to do that. So yeah, I'm excited for episode 4. Excited to see where the series goes after this. And yeah, thank you all for watching this review, and I'll see you guys all next time. Peace out. Bye.